Hello children, good morning. How are you? Fine? Hope you are enjoying my online video classes. So in continuation with the previous topic which we have discussed in the previous day, the topic is control and coordination. Under this topic, we have selected a subtopic today, that is reflex action, reflex arc and human brain. So in previous class, we have talked to you about the CNS, central nervous system, which comprises of brain and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord. Spinal cord. Now, the different behavior, what we perform in our day-to-day life, most of the behaviors are thinking related approach. So when we are doing any mathematical calculation, when we are responding, which involves a lot of thinking and processing, analyzing, computing activity, there the processing and information storage center is our brain, remain covered within the skull or what you call cranium. But certain behaviors are there which require a spontaneous response. Say for example, all of a sudden you saw in front of you a cobra. Immediately you will start running. That cannot wait for a processing from the brain. It will take too long time. Or suppose you are putting your finger unconsciously to a hot fire. Immediately your response will be taking the finger out of the touch of that hot fire. Or suppose sometime you see a pickle in front of your mouth, your tongue starts watering. What happened when and how these types of sudden behavioral response you proceed? Is it wait for a thinking, processing, analyzing and relaying a message from the brain, or some other part which can have a shortcut response? Yes, a part of central nervous system, what we call as spinal cord, it is this part which are immediately giving a relay to the effector organ for doing an immediate response. That is what we call as a reflex action. So reflex action is a sudden, spontaneous, quick reaction or quick action in support of a stimulus which need not involve thinking or analyzing or processing. What happens when anything, the peripheral nervous system carrying the afferent nerve, carrying the information to our brain are having different parts, we shall discuss in latter part of our discussion, where some parts are involved for voluntary action like muscle contraction or say some other activities. Some parts are responsible for involuntary actions like your heartbeat, like your respiration, like your digestion. When you are sleeping also your digestive system works. When you are sleeping also your respiratory system works. When you are sleeping or in other state of mind also your heart is pumping the blood. So involuntary actions. Or as we are standing, we are running, so during the time we don't fall because your body posture is maintained by a part of brain. So these different activities, either voluntary or involuntary, are controlled by processing unit that is present within the skull, what we call as brain. But the spontaneous response you require, as I told you, putting finger to a hot ball of fire, or here I have shown a diagram when the hand has been put over a hot pan having hot water and steam is coming out. So the hand is getting a sensation of pain. The receptor organ present on the skin of our hand or palm getting a sensation of heat or pain. Now, this heat or pain is carried by a neuron set of nervous tissue, that is what we call as sensory neuron. So this is the sensory neuron now carrying the sensation of heat or pain due to the hot oven or hot boil of water, the steam coming from here, and it is carrying the message of sensation of heat or pain to spinal cord. This is the spinal cord, a part of CNS, and from here ultimately it will also go to the brain. Spinal cord is here somewhere and brain is for the topmost part. So the shortest route is a spinal cord. Here the spinal cord where the sensory neuron is carrying the message, and the message from the sensory neuron present in the spinal cord is relayed by a relay neuron. This is the relay neuron. This is the relay neuron which is now relaying the message of action. What sort of action in response of that heat or pain to be done? That relaying neuron is now sending or relaying or transforming the message of action through another neuron. That neuron we called motor neuron. So this is the motor neuron. Now the motor neuron is carrying the message to the effector organ, our hand muscles. I have shown here the effector muscles in hand, and now the muscle of hand is getting contracted and the hand is taken out from the hot ball of fire or from hot pan to get rid of from the sensation of pain. So this is how the short route of action response or a stimulus response is taking part. This short route of action response is mediated by spinal cord. So this types of response we call reflex action, and the path. Path means from receptor through sensory neuron going to the spinal cord through relay neuron. The message is relayed to the motor neuron. Motor neuron is carrying the message to the effector organ, and the hand is removed. This whole path is called as a reflex arc. So I suppose that you have got a very clear concept about reflex action. Now, the message will also receive by brain. The same message which are carried by the sensory neuron will also go to the brain, but brain will give a delayed response because of it needs to first process the information and then send the message. But through spinal cord, it is a very short route of response. That is why this type of immediate response you need not send to the brain immediately. It is the response being carried by the spinal cord. Is that clear to you? Now coming to the part of human brain. Human brain I will show you a model of this human brain. This human brain is covered by covering is called skull. Within the skull we have this human brain. Now I shall take it out to show you the exact appearance of this human brain. Let me take it out individually. This is the human brain. Major part is covered. This is inside, and from outside this is the appearance. So if we see the total structure, one very bulging out bigger part, then gradually a narrow part, and ends to stem. Now, before we go on drawing the exact diagram, let us see what are the different parts of human brain. Human brain is having three main parts. Actually, during embryonic development, when the baby is in mother's womb, the brain development takes place. At the time a narrow cylindrical structure form called enteron. Now this narrow cylindrical structure, by means of developing two grooves, so this narrow cylindrical structure is called, this is called encephalon. Now, by means of forming two groove, this is one groove, this is other groove, this is other groove. Now, during embryonic period, the encephalon divided into three parts. 1, 2, 3. First part, second part, third part. So if I draw simply in that way, this is the first part, this is the second part, and this is the third part. So what are the three parts? Commonly we call forebrain. This is a longitudinal view. Transverse view I have shown. I will draw the diagram later on. Forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Now, we shall have to know the biological term of these four mid and hind brain. So let me grab this part, brain. Forebrain, otherwise called forebrain, otherwise called prosencephalon. Midbrain, otherwise called mesencephalon. And hindbrain called rhombencephalon. Rhombencephalon. If I rub this part, rhombencephalon. So forebrain, otherwise called prosencephalon, midbrain, otherwise called mesencephalon, and hindbrain called rhombencephalon. So these three parts. Now let me rub this part to make little more space. This prosencephalon again divided into two parts. Prosencephalon divided into two parts. One is telencephalon, and the other is diencephalon. Midbrain there is no further division. Hindbrain again divided into two parts, and these are metencephalon, and myelencephalon. So, if we make a synopsis, human brain remain within the skull, having three main parts. How they have developed? During embryonic period, the encephalon or a tubular structure when developed, this tubular structure by means of forming two groups divided into three parts. These are forebrain or prosencephalon, midbrain or mesencephalon, and hindbrain or rhombencephalon. The forebrain or prosencephalon again divided into two parts, telencephalon and diencephalon. Midbrain there is no further division. Hindbrain divided into metencephalon and myelencephalon. Is that clear to you? Now, individual part of brain, what the telencephalon give rise to, what the diencephalon give rise to, what the metencephalon, myelencephalon give rise to, what are their functions? With the help of diagram, I shall take up in your next class. So, if we make a synopsis of today's discussion, we have discussed about what is reflex action, why reflex action is required. It's a shortcut, immediate response, need not involve any processing, because processing involves thinking, analyzing, computing activities, and processing. It will be done by brain. It is a long route, but immediate response cannot wait for that. So immediate response by means of shortcut route through spinal cord, and the whole course of action we told it as reflex action, and the path through which it is taking place we call reflex arc. And we have talked to you about the different part of human brain. Now, individual part and their functions, their different lobes, which is the most important part, how they control the different voluntary and involuntary actions, we shall take up in our next class. Till then, thank you. Have a good day.